Hi guys, welcome back to Lunatic Astrology. I am your astrologer, Lori Lothian, and we're going to talk about a really wild ride for the next month. Oh my God, everything from a lot of luck to maybe some mass calamity and sorrow for the collective. And we're talking about the new moon in Virgo at exactly 25 degrees on September the 17th. Now, I'm going to show you the screen to show you the moon. But before I do, and I want to talk about the collective, I want to remind you to like and subscribe and hit the bell to get notified that I'm posting, and please comment on my videos. Thank you very much. And check below in the description box, not only for timestamps, for the all signs, which follows the general reading, but for any sales and stuff that I have going on. And I always post new stuff down there about offerings that I have from my webpage and from my business as an astrology practitioner, where I see usually, I don't know, about a lot of clients per month. Okay, let's get going. So first of all, this is a bit of a mixed bag. We're going to have times of great luck individually in our own lives, and that's because of our Uranus Venus opposition that can bring you a sudden bout of fortune or a sudden bolt of great luck in some area of your life. And that's happening 2 days before the moon and ongoing during this particular new moon. But also we've got an interplay here with Neptune, the god of dreams. We've got lots of good energy coming from Jupiter, who just went direct. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. For the collective, however, the new moon is happening on a star called Al-Qaeda, and it's a little bit like Al-Qaeda. It's the same Arabic underpinnings, which means tribal chieftain or leader. It's a star associated, though, with calamity and mass sorrow, and sometimes and the destroyer of nations was the Islamic moniker for that star. But it could actually be a good thing because the star has the qualities as well of being a little bit like the nature of Jupiter. So, you know, I guess if you're a warring nation and the other nation's the one that's destroyed, that's great. But in general, the star has a couple of weird things going on. And now, I mean, in terms of the star influence, where the actual new moon is within 2 degrees of that fixed star. Now, that fixed star is in Ursa Major, the Great Bear, and we know that as the constellation of the Big Dipper. In most of North America, we call it the Big Dipper. And the thing about that is that I've been dreaming literally about bears for the last 3 weeks, and I never dream of bears. And I kept saying to myself, what is going to be happening in Ursa Major or Ursa Minor? But most of the dreams were adult bears, so Ursa Major, not the baby bear, the Little Dipper, Ursa Minor. Ursa is bear. So anyway, and, you know, it's really weird because I didn't look ahead to see that this moon was going to produce a combination of a fixed star conjunction to the moon. So the moon, new moon, dark moon, the sun conjunct the moon is happening right on one of the stars with third brightest star in the constellation Ursa Major, or as I said, the Big Dipper. So that's just a synchronicity for me. I expect this is going to be a very profound and influential new moon in my life because of those portending dreams. Now, let me show you the chart, okay? So I'm going to look at my big screen for a minute away from you guys. I'm just going to pull up the chart that I had up earlier. Yeah, alrighty. I just called it transit, but what it really is, of course, is the new moon. So there we have the new moon. That's what it looks like, exactly 25 degrees. I find that interesting that 2 and 5 is a chariot in the tarot, the 7th card of the major arcana, and that the charioteer or chariot card in the tarot is also associated with the star. So that's kind of just a fascinating bit. I mean, Ursa Major is often associated with military stuff in the ancient world, the loss and the winnings of wars. You know, it's considered to be injurious to the affairs of nations and kings. So there's something about this star that could not bode well for the politics that's going on in the world now in various nations. Okay, just keep that in mind. I'm not going to talk about individual nations, however. So we have this new moon here, and we can see that there's a few things happening. Number one, we have a square, and most importantly, to the north and south node, and that means that this is a T-square, and this is actually happening at the bendings, it's called, of the nodal axis. So this is literally a very critical place for the world, and also for each of us individually, wherever this falls in the chart. So I'm going to talk about that for all the rising signs. You can look for your rising sign, sun sign, and moon sign, but rising sign is often the best later. But I'm going to talk about a prescription rather than just say, oh, calamity and whoa. There's a tension between the nodes of fate, Rahu, Ketu, north node, south node. and this particular moon, which will play out for the 28 days after, I'm going to give a prescription for everybody about how to sort of take the juice from this intense tension here. Because, you know, your nodes of fate, the nodes of fate, traveling through the heavens right now are in a particular place in your chart, revolutionizing your life, you know, creating eclipses for almost 2 years, through year and a half, through a particular portion of your life. I have an eclipse reading and it's on my website. Go check it out. And it's good right now because we're still in eclipse, you know, we're in the new stage of a series of eclipses through Sagittarius and Gemini, and they're going to really shift 2 areas of your life over the next year and a half. So in the meantime, this particular new moon is relevant to that longer eclipse story in your life. So for the collective, I'd say, wow, this is a bit of an intense one. I expect calamity. I mean, some of the key words for this star, you know, calamity, mass sorrow. Yeah, there's an association by trine with Alcyone, the weeping sisters star, and the star at the very tip of the tail of the bear is also known for mass sorrow and mass loss and mass calamity, and the star's pretty close to it. So there's a lot going on here that tells me that our collective field, when it comes to riots, pandemic outcomes, political conflict, interpersonal conflict even, is going to get heated, and even more intense over the next 20 days. There's just no way around it. And you know, this new moon is sitting basically opposite Neptune, right? And Neptune is the god of illusion and delusion and fantasy. And you know, he's a god of movements, you know, like the spiritualism movement. I'm going to be doing a video on that. Of the mid 1800s to the late 1800s, people were rapping on dead, you know, knocking, seances, talking to the dead. Well, that movement arose just after the 3rd cholera pandemic, okay, of 1845 to 1860. And then out of the ashes of that, plus the Civil War in the United States, 1860 to 65, from all of that chaos, both a Civil War and the pandemic that preceded it. Wait till you get to my video, because I think we're in for another civil war in the United States because of that, but that's another video. There's a tendency with Neptune to give rise to kind of like radical, brand new movements. You know, Neptune can rule like, you know, conspiracy theory movements, new religious movements, new social movements of all kinds. And yeah, even fascism can be a Neptunian movement. And so what has happened is that Neptune has been in Pisces, which is where it was, by the way back when, in 1860 or so, when the United States had a civil war and the spiritualism movement was taking off big time. So there will be a video on the Neptune factor for the fate of the United States, but that's coming soon. So what I would say is that with the moon being opposite Neptune, the best you can make out of that is you might be able to squeeze a little bit of your hopes, dreams, and wishes and enlightenment and talking to the dead and other dimensions out of it. But it's also indicative of, you know, the intensity in the United States right now around things like the anti-vaxxer, anti-masker, QAnon movement, and worldwide. There's certain elements rising up, movements rising up, sovereign self, you know, rebellion against social protocols around distancing and public health. So there's a wave, Neptune, a rising up of some kind of resistance. It looks like new movements that are happening in the collective. So this moon will only exaggerate that because of the opposition to Neptune. So, you know, and retrograde Neptune. So Neptune's not necessarily got all of his wits about him. So he's definitely looking at some of the shadow of Neptune right now. Anything else I'd say about it? Yes, Venus and Uranus. Now, this is 2 days before this, but it's still in play. Look at that. Venus at 12 degrees, Uranus at 10. That's a square. It's an action angle, the nature of Mars. Boom, something's going to happen. Now, there's a lot of things that can look like. It could look like during this moon and after this moon, there could be women, you know, stepping out of the fray suddenly, doing something erratic, different, surprising in your own life or in the life of the collective. But it also can be a bounty, a bonus, or a windfall, because Venus is a goddess of luck. She does rule money. So I will try to make a note of that in the sign by sign, so it's not all so dire, to remind everybody, if I can, where that falls in their chart. I wasn't planning to do that though, but I will try to remember to add a little spice of where the lucky break might show up. Alrighty, and I think that's it. Nothing else I really want to say. All right, so we're going to go to the all signs. So I'll get rid of my chart and say goodbye to that. And let's talk all signs. So when I go all signs, guys, if you know your rising sign, go there first, right? Now, like, you don't have to know it right now. You can go to astro.com. No, I'm not getting any money for that. And just type in your birth time, day, place, and all of that. And you'll get a chart and you'll be able to see the ascendant, which is a sign rising on the eastern or left-hand side of the chart. Plug in whole signs, okay? In the drop-down menu, because I'm a whole sign astrologer. It makes it easier for you as well. Also, your moon, if you're born at night, or your sun, if you're born when the sunlight is up, the day has sprung. That's the way to go to for a secondary indicator when you're listening to these all signs reports. And, it's very dicey if the sun is above or below the horizon, right? Sometimes we're like, So you can tell by going to your chart and looking at the ascendant, descendant markers. Is the sun above that horizon line? And if it is, you're a day baby. And it's really simple. All right. I'm a night baby. In Aries. Okay, so Aries moon, Aries sun, Aries Mercury. Let's go ahead. Aries, we're starting where we always start, the beginning of the zodiac. So for the Aries, the moon, the new beginning, the fresh start is in the 6th house of right livelihood, work environment, work conditions, karmic debt, fresh start on that karmic debt. It is a house of service and devotion, but it can also be a house of our physical health. Protocols, okay? The body and the ascendant is more like the health part of your body. Like something hitting the ascendant can impact your health quite clearly, like a transit. The 6th house is the things we would do to stay healthy, because it's the house of sickness. So it's where we end up finding yoga, and I do Tai Chi, for instance, or I eat this kind of food style. I hit the mat daily. I exercise, whatever things you do for health. So for some of us Aries, sun and moon and ascendant people, there will be a re-beginning, a new initiation of a health protocol. You might buckle down and do a cleanse. You might buckle down and do a health, workout challenge over the next 30 days. And I am planning to do that. I'm an Aries sun and moon. Believe me, guys, I am always like looking for a new challenge, and I haven't hit my yoga mat in months. So it's sitting in my living room, and I'm going to start going full on yoga. All right. So that's where it's happening for you, Aries. Now, that T-square that looked like that triangle is happening with the North Node in the 3rd and the South Node in the 9th, which is a longer term transit for you, which is tension between the house of siblings and the house of, God and wisdom and education and foreign lands, and the 3rd house, siblings, short-term trips and travel, writing, teaching, speaking, online platforms, etc. So there's this dynamic tension going on there. I mean, I think for me, like, for an example, would be a bit of conflict with one of my sisters lately about belief structures. Or another example for my Aries is that I've been so busy doing the online world stuff and teaching classes online and leading courses and stuff like that. And yet I am, in some ways wanting to propel myself into some learning for me, not just teaching. So 3rd house learning, North Node is there. I could actually, maybe take an educational course. I've been looking at a few where I could really settle into that. Now, where the tension between the 3rd and the 9th axis for you, Aries, can be broken, like relieved by looking over the next 28 days at actions and activities you can take in your natal 12th house. 12th house, dream journal, pay attention to your dreams at night, astral travel, dream incubate. What else is 12th house? Take a trip to a foreign land, or go for a retreat or a sanctuary somewhere. Downtime, introspection, in tuning in. It's a house of spiritual enlightenment. So you could really go for a new level of spiritual attainment, meditate, all that stuff. So finding that sort of cloistered inner life again during the next 28 days can be an antidote to the T-square formed by this new moon and the nodes of fate, south and north node of the moon. Moving on, Taurus, this is your 5th house of romance. So you Taurus ascendant, sun and moon, your 5th house of your own children, fertility, ideas and projects you give birth to, and romance is being activated with a fresh start energy, a new beginning here. This tension is between your money houses 2 and 8. So there's kind of I want to play, have fun, and enjoy myself, 5th house, but I've got money tensions. I'm not making enough, and I haven't saved enough. I don't have enough resources, basically. Or there could be tensions between your self-worth and self-esteem level, and 8th house could be the deeper psychological issues that go on within your psyche. So all that dynamic tension has a release valve. and it's in the 11th house. What is the 11th house? Oh, it's a lot of things. It's a house of good spirit. So it's your sense of, okay, first of all, it can be friends, right? I can't see, guys, hang on. It can be your social networks, your tribes. What do you belong to? What gives you satisfaction? Do you belong to the curling club? Do you belong to the Society of Bookworms? You know, finding belonging in larger groups than just you and your beloved, for instance, or you and your dog is a really good antidote. So I suggest you join a club or find an outlet, your Taurus Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, in order to feel better, okay? Just like feel better over the next 20 days, so that there's not this tension that you're experiencing from the romance house, the children house, and the projects house. All of those things might be relieved by a little bit of belongingness to a larger social group where you have friends and allies and people who would support and assist and help you. Gemini, this is happening in your natal 4th house, and your 4th house is your home base. It's literally where you live. So some of you Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants are going to be reassessing where you live, or you're going to have a change in the home environment over the next 30 days. The energy of tension in that T-square, the grit, is between your sense of self, 1st house, and your marriage partner, 7th. Not a marriage partner, business partner. If not a business partner, marriage partner, maybe some of your clients, if you see people one-on-one, it's your tension between self and other. Maybe you're just literally stretched out between how much time for you versus any others in your life, really. And that dynamic tension for you, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, is going to be relieved by focusing on the 10th house, your praxis, your action in the world, your contribution. What do you want to do when you grow up? You know, focus on your career energies. The more you dig into the career and you really go for it, the more you're going to find you relieve that tension that I just described. So take steps to get that career going and that true calling, and really move into God's plan for you, the high noon of the chart. And you will find a relief from the tension in that self and other. And of course, you're going to give way to something new in the home, one way or the other. New moon. Okay. I'm not going to forget anybody this time. I'm going to make sure Leo doesn't get skipped over, but we're not there yet. Cancer, this new moon is happening in your 3rd house, your 3rd house of siblings. So Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. This is happening in the house of siblings, short-term trips and travel, learning online, writing, teaching, speaking, maybe selling things, marketing and merchandising, learning new skills, lots of meanings for that 3rd house. You are experiencing this gritty tension between the 6th house, which is your kind of your karmic debt and your health protocols and your daily routine, and the 12th house, your inner life and your rich inward life, your dream life. Those two poles are being pulled apart, north and south node, and T-squared, like a bad collision, T-boned by the new moon. So therefore, there's this big tension jumble going on there. And again, you know, Cancer, Ascendant, Sun, and Moon, you may be having some challenges in the sibling house. You need to make a fresh start there, new beginning, new moon. And the opposite direction, like the way you can relieve this gritty tension that's ongoing, is to move into the 9th house. This is truth and wisdom, spiritual knowledge, foreign lands, higher education. Focus up there. The house of guides and mentors. Do you need a mentor? Do you need a guide? Do you need a guru right now? Don't we all? You know, then find somebody outside all of that dynamic tension to support you right now, and see if that doesn't help a lot. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Leo, I got your back this time. I'm not forgetting you guys. This is happening as a new beginning in a money house, the 2nd house. So the new moon's refreshing your revenue, your earnings, your self-worth. It could be something you're speaking, and also what you eat, and you're beginning in your food style. Things that go in and out of the throat and mouth are the 2nd house. Are you looking for a new food style, new beginning? I'm going to go paleo. Well, then this is your month to do something completely different. So you Leos also have this gritty tension between the house of friends and allies and places you belong. And sometimes it can even be people in the workplace, a larger social workplace, not in your cubicle. And then the opposite side of the tension window or wall at the angle is the 5th house of children, pregnancy, childbirth, romance, and projects you're inspired to do. Now, If you have that tension going on there, this push-pull between the needs of the many, the 11th, and the needs of your, say, children or yourself, when you want to be more creative and you can't quite get there because this gritty tension is acting out on you. And, you know, to be clear, I mean, the North Node is where the energy is going. It's the North Node is pulling you to more collective, collaborative, other groups of people where you can actually maybe find a bit of satisfaction. But that said, the outlet for this 30 days or 28 days ahead after the moon, where the tension can find release in that T-square, is in the sign that's your 8th house. Now, this can be sexual intimacy, this could be magic, it could be like alchemy, this could be paganism, pagan witchcraft, occult mysteries, your deep psychological understanding of yourself, your own unconscious, the psyche, and it's also money. So it's another money house, but instead of it being like the hustle to make money, like the second, it's resource money, like things that are coming out of investments or money makes money or an inheritance or other people's money. So those are places you can lean into right now. Maybe just take a break and you know, get some savings and spend them. Or the 8th house are like alimony or retirement money, or if you're pregnant, you take time off. It's that money they give you when you're pregnant, if your company does that or your government does that, to lean into and rely on. Okay. Yeah. And you know, the 8th house is also sort of secrets and taboo things. And so maybe you explore that just for release, you know, time to watch a really good 8th house TV show like, I don't know, CSI, the forensic one, or the new Lucifer show, which is really good. I'm on season 5, very 8th house kind of stuff. All right. Virgo, this is a first house initiation. The new moon's going to change your identity. Virgo, ascendant, sun and moon. Now, this can be a physical makeover. Okay. Your body can change and it's a new fresh start for your health and your body. So Virgo ascendants and sun and moon, that's a great possibility for the month ahead. And there's a gritty T-square for this potential new moon, which is a push-pull between the 10th house of your career or your ambition in the world or your status, and the 4th house, the nest and staying at home and what goes on in the home. There could be a sense here that you are aspiring to achieve things in the outer world, the 10th house, while being pulled to the nest or being pulled to the home. And there could even be a tension around the home, around letting go of something, like the perfect home or the home that you thought you wanted isn't the home. I don't know, because it's a South Node energy, which is about letting go. The release point for Virgo, sun, moon, and ascendants, where you can get a bit of prescriptive assistance for this tension, is your 7th house of long-term love partnerships and business partnerships. And if you see clients, your clients. So lean into your partner for help, lean into your business partner for help, find solace and grace in other. Don't be all caught up in self and this push-pull. This is a very intense time for you, Virgos. Over the next 28 days, this is on the kentrons or stakes of the chart. Houses 1, 4, 7, and 10 are all active here. I mean, well, 7 only because it's a prescriptive place, but you know, I'd say, you know, you guys are, that T-square is on the angle. So it's very intense for you guys. So just, big makeover on the body, big makeover on identity and who you think you are, and big makeover in health, but also rely on others that you care for, who care for you, like long-term love partnerships and even long-term friendships that are like, you know, so embedded. They could be like, I could be married to her or him, you know, those kinds of people. All right. Moving on, this is Libra's story. So Libra, oh my nose is itchy. Sorry guys, I have ragweed allergies in Montreal. Oh, my eyes are so itchy. I've been dropping saline into them all day today. So bear with me. The pollen count went up today and I have an air purifier going, but I'm like, oh, okay, back to the story. Libra, the new moon is in your natal 12th house, and this is a great place for dreams at night, reveries, meditation, contemplation, inward introspection, and solace. And that's a refreshing button. Odometer, reset here. New beginnings here. More time for you, inward contemplation, meditation, dreaming, remembering your dreams, writing them down, big dreams, you know? And don't forget, Alkaid, the star is and, you know, is a powerful star. You may have some dreams of sorrow and calamity. You might have some predictive dreams. You might have some sad dreams, but you may be releasing something, Libra. The tension of the gritty T-square formed by the nodal axis is in your 9th house and your 3rd house. So you're in a push-pull between the 9th house things like higher education, foreign lands, travel to foreign lands, pilgrimages, gurus, guides, and mentors, book publishing, knowledge and wisdom, the house of God, the house of soul, and the 3rd house, the house of goddess. Your daily life, your busyness, your skills, your online teaching, writing, and speaking, your selling, it's a very busy place. I have 3 planets in my 3rd house. Trust me, I have got a lot of hustle in me. But for some of you Libras right now, it's just push-pull, where the south node's in the 3rd house wanting you to pull a bit away from that. Like less time in the hustle of the 3rd house, more time in the more spacious, lofty, philosophical place. Ooh, my hand disappeared. In the 9th house. More attention to your soul. The outlet for this gritty tension is to be of service. It's your 6th house, and to take care of your health. So your routines, okay, get a handle on your work routines, make them more manageable, make them more user-friendly for you. Make your health routines more user-friendly. And it's active service house, you know, where do you want to be of service? You could give time to help another person free of charge, just as an act of service, and find it very redemptive and very healing. All right. Moving on. Oh, I'm gonna blow my nose. I don't have any Kleenex handy. All right, moving on. So we just rub my itchy nose, guys. Sorry about that. I look like a rabbit with an itchy nose. Oh, okay. Moving on to the Scorpios, rising sun and moons. Oh, Scorpio, this is happening in your 11th house. The new moon is resetting the odometer. These are your larger social contacts, your networks. Who do you belong to? Who belongs to you? What friends are the friends you hang with, socialize with, or in COVID online have Zoom socializations with? What belongings do you belong to? You're going to focus on a new belongingness to a new group or new direction. Great gains from your career too. 11th house is ka-ching, ka-ching. In comes the money because you are in your right livelihood. You're moving along here and your career is on the right path. So it could be lucrative financially. This is pennies from heaven. You have a lucky financial break. Don't forget Uranus, Venus before this. I didn't talk about that for most people, but you get it. And boom, a pennies from heaven event or a lucky break financially. Yay. So Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants as well, gritty tension between your 8th house and your 2nd. This is a money challenging time. And 11th is a money house too. But you're going to have a breakthrough here because of that new moon. And the 8th house is money that you save or that banks have, or you have a loan, or you have debt to pay. 2nd house is your earnings. There's a tension. There's a North Node pull to 8th house money. Do you want to invest in some crypto or do something to change the game of hustle for money? Find your solace in the 8th house. Now, I'm not going to pretend the end of someone you know in your life, but it could lead to an inheritance, and an inheritance requires someone to pass. So there's a new moon nodal square energy to the house of inheritance. So if there's somebody ready to leave the planet, it could lead to longer term financial positives in your life who would bequeath you something, obviously. The 5th house is your release valve, the romance, the sexuality, the fun, the play, the pregnancy, the children. If you have children, pay more attention to your children. If you don't, maybe make a baby or just have more sex and have more fun, or be inspired with a creative project. You know, all the artists of the world have very busy 5th house. You know, the musicians, the novelists, the painters, like their 5th house is loaded. So you're going to be moving ideally to 5th house energies to break up that tension of the T-square. Moving on. Sagittarius is fiery Sag. This is a career reset. Kaboom! It's in your 10th house. It's a high noon. It's what you want to do in the world. It's your actions in the world, in a career function, the praxis, the action spot. And for you guys, this is going to set a new course for you over the next 28 days. It's a great time to put new career ambitions and intentions into place during this new moon. There's a gritty tension between the 7th house and the 1st house. That's your identity and your marriage partner, your identity and your business partner, okay? Or your identity and your client. So that push-pull. The North Node is leaning you towards satisfying the tension a little bit in the relating sphere, you know, Do you need to be more attentive to your beloved? Or you put them on the back burner because you've been focused on you and on work? So maybe it's time to say, I've been working hard and focused on me, but what about you? Are you okay? Business partner, marriage partner, etc. Some of the outlet and the release of this tension for you, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, is going to be to focus more on your home life, the fourth house. Are you really enjoying your home? Do you need to redecorate? Do you need a comfy sofa, a better pillow, better bedding? What do you need to do to bring some joy to your fourth house? Spend more time at home. Make what you do at home satisfying and gratifying for you and maybe your partner. So that's your solution, not your antidote for the next 28 days. So you don't have to not reset your career, but balance it with your home. All right. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. This is a 9th house reset. A reset of your educational goals, a trip or travel to a foreign land. Yeah, it probably got canceled. A reset of your connection to the divine, your connection to truth, God, and wisdom, to a mentor or a guide or a helper, that spiritual helper. And the next 28 days will unfold some of those new beginnings there. And there's tension between the nodes on the 6th and the 12th house. And so there could be this idea that you want to pay attention to those 9th house features, and yet you're pulled and twisted around your house of your daily work routines and your daily health routines, 6th house, and your own health if things aren't going well. And the 12th house, which is, the interior life that you have, your dreams, your meditation, your past lives even. It's the karmic axis. It's also a magical axis. The outlet for all of this weird tension is going to be, you could also have someone in a hospital or a friend in a hospital or a friend in a jail or something like that grabbing your attention and pulling you this way, or a relative this way and that. The outlet, the saving grace, is the 3rd house. Move into the 3rd house and do 3rd house things. Take online seminars and workshops. Play a little bit more with a casual learning. Lean into some help from a sibling. Be willing to take an adventure locally, travel locally, domestically, just to get some new fresh air there, okay? All right, moving forward, 2 more signs. Aquarius rising, Sun and Moon. Anyone who watches my channel knows that I'm an Aquarius rising. So I always like to see what's going on for me. So I'll probably tell you how it seems to contextually apply. The new refreshing starts the 8th house, a money house, but it's also the house of deep occult mysteries and wisdom. And it's a house of magic, and it's a house of intimacy, sexual intimacy. So there's a refreshing of the screen there in the next 28 days. And it's money that's like residual and passive, royalty income, membership site income as well. And then the 5th and 11th house are the gritty T-square. Now the nodal axis going through 5 and 11 for all of us Aquarius risings is a call to really be more soully oriented with our souls inspired, creative, enthusiastic 5th house energy. That's the north node in the 5th, where the south node's pulling us a little bit away from friendships and alliances and groups that we thought we belonged to, but no longer fit, and taking us down into that creative cauldron of our 5th house. So I'm going to write a novel, come hell or high water over the next year and a half with the transit of the north node through my 5th house for the first time in 18 and a half years. I'm going to write a novel. What I do last time, I wrote a full-length manuscript, 2 in fact. So one was fiction and one was nonfiction. So I know the drill. I'm going to do it again, and this time I'm going to publish the darn thing. But I want to say that it is for Aquarius's gritty month. There's a lot of tension between the creative, playful, joyful, sensuous, and 5th house romantic, and that 11th house larger social circles and commitments. Now, the release valve, though, for the new moon and the gritty tension of the T-square is the 2nd house of self-worth, self-possession, what you ingest and drink, what you say and speak, your voice, your throat, your message, self-worth and self-esteem, and earnings. It just might be an antidote to make a bit more money and have fun doing it, to take your mind off of the intensity here. So now that I've seen that, I might just launch a little mini course during the month of the month of mid-September to mid-October, even though I've got one going, one just finished, just for fun, because that's tending to be how I make money. But I also make money seeing clients. And so maybe I'll just have a lot of release seeing one-on-one astrology clients, which I see right now 8 a week. and I'm booked till October because I don't want to see more than 8 people a week right now because I'm doing so many other things. So if you want to see me, you want to get in, you got to get yourself scheduled because it's looking like now early October, I think, are maybe my first availabilities, but maybe not. I could be wrong about that, but I think so. All right. Pitch for self. Okay. Anything else I'd say to you guys? Well, inheritances, like, I'm not going to mince words. Alkate is the female mourners and, you know, calamity and sadness. And the star is happening in the 8th house. And, you know, and there's a sense that with that new beginning, but coming from the 8th house, that somebody you know may be passing. But it would only be because the reason it happens here is the house of death, but also possibly leading to a monetary bonus point or gain for you, right? Because there may be some asset or bequeathment that comes from that person's passing. So yeah, okay. Both my parents have passed, so that's probably not my story. All right, moving forward. Pisces, you got this energy of a reset in your relationship to your business partner or your marriage partner or your one-on-one clients. New beginnings, hallelujah. However, there's grit between the 4th house of home and the 10th house of career. The North Node is pulling you to be more homebodied and to really fortify the home, maybe redecorate it, maybe spend more time there, make it really, you know, be rooted in yourself. This is your family of origin as well. You may want to root more connection to your family of origin during this next 30 days, 28 days ahead. You also are looking at this South Node in the 10th house. So, you know, all of you Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants are having to let go of your ambition as a worldly being in a successful career in some way over the next year and a half. It doesn't mean you won't have a successful career, but you can't like attach to what it looks like. You can't strive and grasp for something because it won't work. Not with the North, South Node going through your 10th house. All right. The outlet, the tension outlet for this gritty T-square in the next 28 days is you, the 1st house. Pay attention to your body, love yourself up, take a bubble bath, do some exercise, eat well, get your hair cut if you need it, like I do. Play with how you feel about you. Don't be so locked in to, you know, that energy of having to please the partner, having to have that career. Lean into your house and let yourself focus on you. All right. You matter this month because the more you pay attention to your health, your body, your psychic and emotional health, the more you're going to be able to reset that relationship in the 7th house, whether it's business or your main partner. All right, guys, that's the story. But I want to say one more thing that I didn't say, and I kind of left the best to last. I should have said this earlier. If anyone's still listening, pay attention to November 26th to the 29th, because whatever this new moon does, it's going to play out again that week of the 26th to the 29th. Okay. So the best was last because I forgot to mention it. It's going to be when Mercury is at the 25th degree where this new moon happened. At the same time, Jupiter will also be sitting at the 25th degree of the sign of, and direct in the sign of Capricorn. And that's a sextile. So some good development or further development of the themes we talked about from this new moon on the 17th of September, unfolding around the 26th to the 29th of November. All righty. Thank you for hanging in there. Check my sales and readings below. The eclipse special, my Mars special is still on. I had 22 spots available and I filled 16 or 17 of them. As soon as the spots are full, I'm taking the sale down. It's only $65 for my half-hour reading I sent you by recording with a video and audio. And I talk about how this Mars transit through Aries, June 27th to January 6th, is going to change your life. I also look at your Mars return chart, which is a 2-year prediction of Mars's influence in your life. So if that is all of interest to you, I'm getting great feedback from the people I've done this for so far, then go ahead and grab it below because there's only 8 spots left. All right. See you guys on the next video.